What's going on, guys? No listener question today, but I just wanted to share with you something that happened in our life the other day that I wanted to share with you really bad because I think it's something that hopefully can help some of you guys. So the other day, Kate and I were walking our dog Maggie, a little 10-pound wiener dog, across the park, local park we have in the area here. And Maggie went down and she sort of was sniffing around below a tree, and then she picked up this bone. It was like a chicken bone. It was probably about that big, and it was really sharp on both ends. And Kate and I are talking. We're just completely sort of oblivious to Maggie, and we're talking, and we look down, and Maggie's got this bone in her mouth that is just razor sharp. I don't know what happened, but someone must have eaten the chicken and thrown bones on the ground or something. But she had this bone in her mouth, and she was not going to let this thing go. So Kate and I were kind of reacted in the moment, you know, and so we tried to get the bone out of her mouth, and she was growling and frothing at the mouth, and she was drooling and, you know, just going crazy trying to prevent us from taking this bone out of her mouth. And so it was kind of like after a few minutes, we, you know, put a stick in her mouth and pried her front teeth open, and finally got the bone out of her mouth, and we kind of shook it off going, what just happened? Because, I mean, that could have been like an $8,000 surgery, and Kate knows some of her family has had dachshunds that have died eating bones, which is a really interesting thing that happened in her life. And then this event happened. It was all kind of too strange, and so she was freaked out, and we calmed down and all that stuff. But later on that night, Kate and I were talking, and I don't know what happened. I just forgot about it. You know, I just kind of let it go. But Kate was asking more questions about it, and she said to me in the kitchen, we're making a juice, and she's like, hey, so what do you think the lesson is of that whole thing with Maggie earlier today? What's there for us to learn? And I just thought, wow, that's so interesting, you know, that she brought that up and I just overlooked it. And we started talking in this amazing discussion about what happened with her, and we found it really interesting that that Maggie could be a representation of us, because dogs, like we did an interview a while back with Kevin Behan, your dog is your mirror, and your dog is sort of a physical representation of our sort of emotional state in our life. And it's interesting because she takes on a lot of our emotions living where we live. We live in a very loud place, and sometimes we get upset and angry that it's so loud here we can't find any peace, and we find that Maggie is sort of downloading some of those emotions. And so we're talking about it. It's really interesting because we're thinking, okay, so Maggie doesn't know that this bone could potentially kill her. She could eat this bone and it could puncture her intestines and her stomach. They could do surgery. I mean, dogs die from this kind of thing. But she didn't want to give up the very thing that she thought she wanted but didn't know was going to kill her or could have killed her. I thought, you know what am I doing in my life? Because I wouldn't have thought of this unless Kate brought this up, but what am I doing in my life? What am I holding on to that's preventing me from getting to another level? What am I holding on to that I don't know is damaging for me, but I think that my body needs it, or that I want it, and I want to fight hard to get it in order to live a kind of life that I want to live? What am I holding on to that's actually holding me back? And so we got on this huge, long discussion for about an hour and a half about all the different things. Maybe we hold on to fear, or maybe we hold on to different emotions that, you know, a grudge against someone, or maybe we hold on to an addiction, or maybe we hold on to eating poor foods. And we know that we shouldn't, but if someone comes and tries to take those things away from us, we somehow have to now deal with our own vulnerabilities. We have to deal with our own emotions because we don't have these things comforting us because they've been taken from us. And these things comfort us in ways that sort of numb us from the pain of dealing with the actual event or the emotion themselves, right? So when we hold on to things, it's just not good. You know, and many of the times the things that we hold on to are so damaging for us, they could actually kill us. And so I started thinking, like, you know, it doesn't have to be a physical thing that we hold on to, because all of us have attachments to, you know, our comfy lifestyle, our bed, our quiet house, our kids. We all have attachments to these things, and it's my contention that these attachments is what cause issues in our life. These attachments are what cause people to be unsatisfied. But be that as it may, what physically are we holding on to, emotionally, spiritually? What things are we holding on to that we don't know that could secretly be hijacking and damaging our health and potentially could kill us? And so that got us talking, and it was really interesting because, I feel like, right now I'm reading a book called Sacred Contracts by Carolyn Mace. I think her name is Mace. And she talks about the highest form of looking at any sort of life circumstance is realizing and learning what the true meaning of that is, right? That's the highest form, because nothing happens by chance, nothing happens by accident. And it's her contention that I think she believes in reincarnation, and she believes that before coming to this earth, we had these things called sacred contracts where we contracted with other people in order to bring out what it is we're here on this earth plane to live on, or to actually learn. And so maybe we contracted with an abusive husband, or maybe we contracted with an abusive wife, or you know what I mean? It's these types of things because of what they will bring, and what levels of growth will come from dealing with these types of people. And so when you start looking at all the different things that happen in your life, in a way that there's no accidents, there's no circumstance that just wasn't predetermined or predefined. Whether or not we did that, or whether or not God did that, or whether or not we worked with God to do that, or whatever the case is, if you start telling yourself a new story that every event in your life is a lesson, and is there to be learned as a lesson, and is there to get you to a higher state of awareness, of growth, and all these things, it's really interesting when you start looking at the little details of your life, It's really fascinating when you start looking at the inconveniences. It's no coincidence that the very thing in your life that you are weakest at is the very thing that sort of surrounds you, right? The very thing that you have the least amount of tolerance for is this thing that seems to be in your life the most, right? That's no accident. So when you start looking at every little event as a lesson to learn from and a lesson to grow from, it might serve you to look at life that way. And if many times God is trying to speak to us and to allow us to grow, and these events crop up in our life, and if we don't realize that they are events that God is giving us to grow, then we just sort of let them go by without really putting any thought or any emotion or any energy to it, because we don't realize that that's what's going on. Similar to me with the story with Maggie, I didn't realize that maybe God was trying to send me a message about not attaching myself to things and letting things go in my life that I think that I want, like her with the bone, but are actually killing me. So when I see it that way, then I can start looking at my life in a new way. And I have literally probably 5 or 10 times a day or more that we can actually look at these little tiny small events, missing a light, small stuff, where these things are lessons for us, and we can grow from that. And I encourage all of you guys to start listening and to start looking at these events in your life as a way of using them for personal growth, and using them as a way that maybe God is speaking to you in some way. Because if you don't, then what will happen is that there may be a lesson that you're supposed to learn, a certain personality trait, but then if you don't learn it, then you might get some other circumstances in your life that force you to learn it. So let's not get to that place, right? So in any event, I'm curious to see if do you guys have events? Do you look at your life like that? Do you look at your life in a way that it's like a way of learning lessons? And so I'm curious what you guys think about this. And if you guys have little sort of small things that happen in your life that can be used as bigger lessons. So in any event, if you're interested in this type of thing, we have a radio show, extremehealthradio.com, where I think I have over close to 400 shows right now, all for free on personal development, on eating, nutrition, diet, longevity, disease prevention, natural living, all that kind of stuff. So if you like that and you want to sign up to our newsletter and join the other thousands of people that have done that, you can text the word Get Healthy to 33444 and we will send you out some awesome bonuses, and you can keep up to date with everything we have going on. So please subscribe below and comment, share, and rate this video if you would be so kind. We appreciate it so much, and I'd love to hear your thoughts about this. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys on the next video.